Good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Jessica Blum here, joining you into the 1011 streaming studio. We have usually do one of these in the morning, but we're a little later here today. Just got a lot going on the news side of things, but now with the weather side of things too, to talk about your forecast going into tomorrow. We've been awaiting more widespread rain chances, really with a tease at the end of last week throughout this weekend with some spitty drizzle off and on and this low-hanging cloud cover that we're awaiting this widespread rain to come really early this week, and namely into tomorrow. So we are going to be looking into that. We're going to start out, though, with your Halloween forecast here, taking a live look at the Boo at the Zoo, which is here to we'll really get set underway here this afternoon into this evening. So your forecast, if you're looking to head out to Boo at the Zoo here on your Monday, will bring about those cooler temperatures. We've been in the 50s so far this afternoon, and really the lower 50s are going to stay pretty steady throughout the evening hours with the cloud cover and a light southeasterly breeze. Not expecting too much in the way of precipitation really tonight until that cold front approaches, and we're going to get into some of those finer details here in just a moment. But something else you may have heard of here early this week, we're also tracking the tropics with Hurricane Melissa in full force in the Atlantic Ocean, right now sitting at a Category 5 hurricane. Maximum sustained winds upon latest check within this 4 o'clock hour, we're at 175 miles an hour, which makes it a very strong major hurricane spinning away in the Atlantic. And right now you can see the motion to it is to the northwest. That's within the latest couple updates with some aircraft going through that we're seeing the motion now start to turn to the north and west after it had been kind of stationary, moving westerly at 3 miles an hour so slowly, but now taking aim on Jamaica as a major Category 5 hurricane, likely going to maintain that strength as it moves to the northwest tonight and into early tomorrow to make landfall on the area. And there you can see we've got an overlay of the track going forward in time through tomorrow morning, but beyond Jamaica and the life-threatening catastrophic floods, storm surge coming with this hurricane, this does eventually move on to Cuba. Eventually the Turks and Caicos continue to the north and east, and there could be some impacts to the United States with rip currents and things along the eastern coast going forward in time. But let's bring it back here at home. Just wanted to quickly mention that because national headlines, national news, even here in some of our local newscasts, you may hear us kind of talk about Melissa going forward, and rightfully so, as it's a very, very strong hurricane. I think we've only had 5 hurricanes in the Atlantic so far this season, and 4 of those 5 have been at a Category 5 or stronger category, really, with Aaron and Umberto and Gabrielle before now. But bring it back home here. We pull up yesterday's weather almanac, closing out the weekend. The last Sunday in October, we did get up to 60 degrees. And briefly at that, because we'd been seeing a lot of cloud cover throughout this weekend, but we did get up to 60 degrees. Did see a little sunshine poke out yesterday evening for a short time, but look at the high versus the low. Only a difference of about 9 degrees, so there hasn't been a wide temperature spread lately with the weather setup we've been in. But interesting to note that records at this time of the year are still in the middle 80s. Lows can be in the teens. We're not quite there, but we are going to get to some chillier temps by the end of this week. We haven't seen a lot of precipitation lately over the last couple days in this weekend. Lincoln Airport only reported about 0.02 of an inch was all with the drizzle, and we are still below average on the month, but looking to change that around, I think, in a matter of a couple days with the rain, especially throughout tomorrow, maybe lingering a little bit into Wednesday. So we are below average by a little over 1/4 of an inch, and we are very well below average talking about the year as a whole. But low temperatures this morning, if you're curious, right around 50 degrees. At 50 degrees in Lincoln, upper 40s throughout much of central and western Nebraska. Did get down to the 30s in Sydney as the one spot to do so. Low temperatures across Lincoln, really right at 50, 51 degrees, maybe some in southeast Lincoln dropping to only 52 degrees, so much milder again compared to some of our first mornings that had our frost and freeze of the season late last week, but a lot of cloud cover to be seen Other than out in western Nebraska, you see North Platte has a lot of sunshine, some cumulus clouds popping up, but a lot of us are seeing a low stratus deck, including right here in Lincoln, with current temperatures in the 4 o'clock hour sitting at 54 degrees. At the Lincoln Airport and at the 1011 studio, we've got south to southeast winds less than 10 miles per hour. What is going to be more unpleasant, though, not only talking about rain becoming likely tomorrow, is the wind is going to significantly pick up going throughout the day on Tuesday, and we're going to play all of that out for you here in a matter of time. But temperatures, as you look across Lincoln, are in the lower 50s really for all of us. Maybe you can consider the middle 50s when you're getting into the 54-degree range that a lot of us across town are reading. Temperatures across the state, some up to 55 degrees. Tacoma, Columbus, Albion, Ord. And then you've got some 60s where the sunshine is coming through, just west of North Platte and Ogallala up to 66 degrees. Quite the temperature difference, actually, just along I-80 from North Platte to Ogallala by a matter of about 12 degrees. And it's a little warmer than this time yesterday in Ogallala and Imperial, but that is coming as some of the air out front of the cold front is getting compressed. We've got some winds converging in that area as the cold front sits out that way. As I pull up the winds, you'll be able to see that here in a second, but some stations along the Missouri River reading a little cooler than this time yesterday when the sun was poking out in Omaha and helped them to warm up to about 68 degrees, I think, for a high yesterday. But you'll notice, with the wind field just near Thedford, Ainsworth, back toward Ogallala, those winds are converging. That's our cold front. That's our next weather maker, really driving the widespread rain showers that are coming together as we speak now and really going into the overnight hours and early tomorrow. Winds behind that front are out of the west, gusting up to 25 to 35 miles an hour, namely out in the Panhandle. That is all going to spread eastward with time, as is the precipitation. So as we look at satellite and radar here over the last few hours, the rain is starting to come together a little bit more in the Panhandle. Still light to maybe moderate showers out there. Couldn't rule out, I don't think, some thunderstorms, I think, in southwest Nebraska here later tonight. I'll show you that here in a second. But our regional view shows this mid to upper level disturbance really crossing through the southern plains and producing a lot of precipitation from here up to the north. A lot of cloud cover really, namely, too, from that system. And precipitation being spread out toward the east coast as well. But forward in time, as you plan out this evening, again, those Halloween festivities, as they get going throughout this week, it's going to be wet early, but then will dry out eventually as we get closer to Halloween. Monday night, southwest Nebraska, there you see some oranges and reds showing up on our graph model. Some heavier rain, maybe even some isolated rumbles of thunder in there. But this band that comes together across western, central, and eventually eastern Nebraska will sit there for quite a while going into the late morning hours of tomorrow and potentially again Tuesday night and into early Wednesday before, as you can see, decreasing in coverage from north to south just before sunrise on Wednesday. And then I think the cloud cover will finally break apart as we go through the second part of Wednesday into Wednesday evening. And you can see even by Wednesday night, mostly clear to maybe partly cloudy skies out in western Nebraska. So the risk for severe weather really isn't there. We will see some general thunderstorms with this cold front from western into maybe southwestern and central Nebraska tonight. That comes to an end right across eastern Nebraska. It'll lose some steam throughout the day tomorrow, and we'll just see some general light to moderate rain showers throughout the day tomorrow. But a good day to keep the rain gear handy throughout the day, as this rain is set to last for a good while on Tuesday. Just kind of a miserable day, honestly, as you look at the rain. And in a minute, we'll look here at the winds, too. But just past midnight here, as you can see, that band coming together, moving into the Tri-Cities as we're sleeping. And then by tomorrow morning, as we're getting ready for work and school, you can see the showers are out there blanketing eastern Nebraska just before sunrise, and they will stay out there throughout much of the afternoon before I think we'll see maybe those showers become more intermittent before another wave comes together and pushes from north to south Tuesday night into early Wednesday, and then again some more sunshine poking through the second part of Wednesday and really for the end of our week. As we talk about precipitation potential over the next few days, you can see far eastern Nebraska has the better chance at some measurable rain, maybe adding up to a quarter or 3/4 rather to an inch of rainfall. Really just Lincoln sitting on that edge there of that potential. And then I think counties just east or so by one county east from Lincoln or so should have that better chance at rain coming together throughout tomorrow and into early Wednesday. The rest of the state looking at maybe a tenth to a half an inch, especially in central Nebraska, but most of the rainfall right around Lincoln and then pushing east, and then you can see amounts just dramatically drop off as you go west throughout Nebraska. And I wanted to take you through the temperatures because namely tomorrow, with the timing of this cold front moving through and the rain and the cloud cover and even the winds, it's going to be one of those interesting days where we likely see our high temperatures closer to midnight, if not early in the morning, and temperatures will be falling throughout the day with some of those showers and some of those north winds picking up. So by 7 a.m., we're looking at 30s, 40s, and 50s statewide, 50 here in Lincoln, but falling to the upper 40s by a couple degrees or so. But notably, those winds are going to pick up. So these 40s are going to feel quite miserable with some rain and some strong wind gusts at times throughout this afternoon. And then those temperatures will stay pretty steady even into the evening and into early Wednesday morning until we can see that cloud cover break apart second part of Wednesday, really by the evening. But then you look at those teens out in western Nebraska too, so quite the temperature spread that we will be waking up to across the state Wednesday morning. Here's the part I really wanted to hit home. So right now that cold front is situated in western Nebraska. You can kind of see it with the lighter winds from Ogallala up toward Valentine. But really, once we get into Tuesday afternoon, widespread winds out of the north to northwest are out there from 30, 40, maybe even up to 45 miles an hour for much of the afternoon. And then even much of the night. This is heading toward 11, almost midnight. Graph has picked up even within the last model run to 45, maybe even 50 mile an hour wind gusts, not out of the question. So early this week will be an important time too. If you've got Halloween decorations out there, I know a lot of us across town do, and across the area, to either bring those inside or maybe deflate them, tether them down even better than where they're at right now, because it is going to be a blustery night come Tuesday evening into Tuesday night and even into early Wednesday. Still waking up to a lot of those winds at 8 a.m. around 30 to 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour closer to the Kansas border. And then those winds will slowly diminish as we head toward sunset on Wednesday and into Wednesday night. So maximum wind gusts I wanted to show you day by day to break this apart, I think could be on the order of 40 to maybe even 50 miles an hour by Tuesday night. Dropping down Wednesday morning is really the impact time to see some of these stronger winds heading into the middle of this week. And then the second part of this week, when we're talking about Halloween and the USC game, those winds will come down, and maybe we're talking about wind gusts maxing out around 15 to 20 miles per hour. But your high temperatures, we're basically about seeing our high temperatures for the day right now. Expected to be, again, a little warmer out in western Nebraska, but forecasted lows for tonight are going to be in the 30s and 40s, closer to 50 degrees again in Lincoln, similar to what we saw early this morning. High temperatures tomorrow, again, maybe a lot of these high temperatures coming closer to midnight before we slip a little throughout the day with those chilly temperatures because of the wind, because of the cloud cover, because of the rain, really throughout much of the day. Forecast the low temperatures Wednesday night do fall into, again, the teens out in western Nebraska, 20s and 30s in central Nebraska, to around the lower 40s in southeastern Nebraska. But as we experience some clear skies overnight heading into the end of this week, I think another frost, if not maybe a light freeze, will be possible for a lot of us in southeast Nebraska again. Wednesday, high temperatures not changing all that much, right around 50 degrees, again trying to warm up after the morning. Looking a little further out, 8 to 14-day temperature outlook. This is looking through from November 4th through November 10th, so the first almost full week of November. We're leaning toward above average temperatures, but by then, average temperatures are in the 50s, so we're talking about maybe leaning toward the 50s and 60s at that time frame, and then looking a little drier through that time frame too, at least through much of Nebraska. So putting numbers to that, this is what this looks like over the next 7 days here in Lincoln, right around that 50-degree mark tomorrow and Wednesday, but again tomorrow probably hitting that overnight before cooling throughout the afternoon by a few degrees. As you look at Halloween, mostly sunny with a high temperature near the middle 50s, and then toward the end of next week and toward the Nebraska game, and eventually clocks being set back an hour on Sunday. Temperatures starting to warm up, especially into Sunday and early next week with upper 50s and lower 60s. Of course, keep it tuned here to 10:11. We'll keep live updates here on the forecast as we continue to get through some of the rain early this week and this holiday week as well.